Hello, and welcome to the Royal Buzz. Today's show, we promise you'll leave feeling inspired and empowered as Sheila Wallace shares her powerful journey of resilience, filmmaking, and living with lymphoma. Hi, I'm the host, Trena Myers, Miss Elite United USA, the Zebra Queen, legacy maker, CEO of Rare Wish, and Queen Bee of Creative Marketing Agency. And today I have a very special guest with me, my dear friend, Sheila Wallace of Sheila B Productions. She is a thriver, a survivor, an award-winning filmmaker, storyteller, and visionary. And I am so lucky to call her my friend. Welcome, Sheila.
Hi, Trena. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm up here. I'm flushed because of the intro. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, it's always my pleasure. I love having conversations with you. And I just can't wait for the audience to hear more about you. So I would like to take a moment and thank our audience for joining us. The Royal Buzz, your go-to podcast that's buzzworthy on pageantry, advocacy, and positivity. Where Hive meets Hype, listen to the magic one story at a time. Today, we promise you'll leave feeling inspired and empowered as Sheila Wallace shares her powerful journey of resilience, filmmaking, and living with lymphoma. So, Sheila, we met a long time ago.
Yes.
Can you believe it's been over 10 years now?
Yeah.
So Sheila and I met through a local leadership program in Metro Atlanta. And through that program, we had to come up with community projects. When I first met Sheila, you know how when you just meet those people and they've just got energy and you just kind of gravitate to them? That's Sheila.
Mhm.
And so when I first met her, I knew, that we just clicked. And I knew that there was more to come, especially when she got up and introduced herself. And it's really what connected me to her because I knew she was a boss lady. She was powerful and she sought out to set goals and achieve them. So I'm so glad you're here and to tell your story and hear more about your experience in the film industry, and we'll get a little bit deeper. So tell us about how you got into film.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Trena, my dear friend, for this opportunity, for this platform. I am very humbled, honestly. I truly, first and foremost, always give thanks to God for our connection, our paths crossing.
Absolutely,
Because
yes.
we knew immediately everything that you just said prior to me speaking is exactly how I felt about you. It was just a connection. It was energy. We felt that from each other.
Yes,
So that
yes.
was amazing. And I'm glad that we've stayed connected throughout the years because sometimes that falls off
It
sometimes. But ours haven't,
right. It
thank God.
doesn't always happen.
Right,
Right.
right. I guess I'll start back from high school. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my English teacher, her name was Miss Cleveland, and she was always making us read. At that point in time, I hated reading. I didn't
Oh,
want to pick up a
yes.
book. I didn't want to do any of that. And she kept telling me, she
Right.
says, once you really get into it, Sheila, it's going to be good. I don't want to write book reports. I don't want to do any of that. So one day, she said she saw something in me. Now, honestly, I never saw that. I'm going to be honest. Whatever she saw,
Mm-hmm.
I never saw it. But she handed me this book and she said, I want you to read it. She says, I'm not asking to do a report or anything like that. I just want you to read it. And then I want you to come and talk to me about it. And when she put the book down, it was To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ugh, it already sounds boring. This is going to be about like somebody killing a bird. I was like, Miss Cleveland,
Right.
no, I don't want to read this. She says, no, if you want to pass, this would be part of your grade. I'm telling you to read this. And so I did. I started reading it. And the more I read it, I'll be honest, the more I fell in love with the story, but with words, just
Mm.
words, just in general. And that's where my love of writing came, so much as I started writing poems and then I started writing short stories. And God rest her soul, my first book that I wrote, Willow Silent Cries, I actually dedicated that to Miss Cleveland because she was initially
Wow.
the person that got me to reading. My dad and my mom
Right.
pushed it, but sometimes it takes an outside source to get you,
Oh,
moving.
absolutely. I actually had a very similar story, but mine was with my seventh grade teacher,
Get out of
but
here.
almost identical. Yes, we're still friends on Facebook. She was
Wow.
that impactful teacher for me. And
Wow.
it's just amazing how much teachers can make that
They
impact
are.
on our lives.
My teachers, I mean, they were different type of teachers then. They really had a one-on-one with their students. So it was a little bit different.
Right.
Of course, the dynamics of the classrooms were different then too than they are now.
Sure.
But
Right.
I commend all teachers for what they do and the impact that they have on our lives and going forward with the
Right.
children's lives. But um, so I continued to read. I did a lot of reading. And when I went into the military, I didn't like reading so much again because they wanted us to read all of these manuals and I hated it.
Right.
My love for reading, kind of drew back a little bit, but it began to resonate more um, not necessarily in the reading, but in writing. I started journaling the things that were going on in the military and the things that I was experiencing in the military, my emotions, just happenings in the military overall. And
Mhm.
I kept looking at what I was writing and I was like, wow. I was like, one day I'll do something with this. But I never even thought about it like where I am now. But I
Mhm.
think all of that was just really molding me to where my journey was supposed to not end, but begin in a for the rest of my life, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So after I got out of the military, I started writing again, but this was from um a place of just being hurt, going through things in life,
Yeah.
bad marriage, just a bunch of bad things. It just inspired me to continue to write. And then one day, after I divorced and moved on with my life, I decided that I wanted to write some of the things that had happened to me from the time that I was a child up until my time leaving the military. And so I did. That's where Willow Silent Cries came about. And it was supposed to be a trilogy, although I didn't finish the other two because then I was, my direction was diverted again and I started, doing a little bit of acting. And
Mhm.
still along the same lines, still falling, still in love with words, but I was now
Right.
learning words from a script. And I was like, I do not want to learn lines. I mean, I was in like a few, yeah, I was like in a few films and I was like, I don't like learning lines, but everything behind the scenes just like
Right.
it made my eyes bulk. Like, really, I
Sure.
wanted to learn everything it was to bring what you see now sitting down on the film.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I started like kind of looking at it, but not really serious about it until 2020. In
Right.
2020, I lost my job. I was a activities director for a retirement home, and
Oh, that's right.
mhm. working with
I
seniors.
remember that.
Yeah, which is one of my
Right.
loves. And it was, I
Right.
felt would be like my last job. I was retired from this because this was my
Sure.
happy place. Um,
Yeah.
and then COVID hit, I lost my job. And before I left the job, one of the seniors, Miss Carol, she gave me a piece of paper. It was just, some sheets of paper folded up. She says, I want to give you this. She says, I want you to read it. She says, I don't know what you'll do with it, but just read it. And I did. I kept it. I didn't even open it up. I didn't read it. But after I
Mhm.
quit, I was going through some of my stuff and I came across her story. And
Mhm.
I was like, I should do something with this. But I was sitting on my porch looking for jobs. And of course, I was sitting there looking at the trees, almost like they were talking to each other. I have a very close
Mhm.
connection with trees. And I thought
Yeah,
about,
me
like,
too.
really?
Yes,
Really?
I have them all over the house. I have a big like the tree of life right here in my office that I'm
Wow.
looking at.
Wow. Yeah. Trees
Yes.
are a connection to the souls. I mean, to me,
Yes.
to the earth, to where we came
Right.
from, and the roots. Now, it's just, that's a whole nother podcast about trees. But yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? I really want to write a story about a tree. And I did. I wrote the story and it was so vivid in my mind once I saw it on paper. I was like, you know what? I should make this a film. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I had never did anything with film, but I was so adamant. I was like, you know what? I'll just make it a little short one. It'll be 6 minutes. So I went on Facebook. By the grace of God, I found an amazing cinematographer. He amazing.
Mhm.
And then I just enlisted my brother, a few of my friends, my high school colleague. We've been friends like forever since
Mhm.
kindergarten, and we
Yeah.
filmed the tree. It was amazing. And I mean, I loved it. So I reached out to Miss Carol and I told her, hey, how would you like it if I bring your paper, your story that you gave me to life? And she cried.
Oh
She
my
absolutely
goodness.
cried. And so, yeah, we created or did Luella's quilt in
Right.
2024, I think it was. Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I've seen several of your films
Mm.
and was highly impressed
Aw.
with the storyline, the quality. I'm not surprised that you have won the awards that you have for your filmmaking.
Well, thank you. I give it all to
Mm.
God. I really do. And I said, it's a blessing and a curse kind of because my mind never shuts off. So I was like, Lord, I truly do thank you for this gift because honestly, it is. And it, most people are in everything, almost everything for money.
Hmm.
Although, it would be nice to, have some compensation for my films, but for me,
Sure.
it's from a deeper place of just loving to write heartfelt movies, films,
Yeah.
things that,
You're you're telling a story,
yes.
or you're putting somebody else, bringing someone else's story to life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For them to actually see it. It's no wonder the lady cried. I would cry too.
Yes. Yes. And that really did. It made me cry too because it was just really, for me, it was a blessing to give that to her. And
Hmm.
she was on film on set the whole time, directing like, no, that shouldn't be there. And I was like, this is so amazing. She was great. She was really great.
Wow.
Hmm.
So what's upcoming? Anything new on the horizon?
Absolutely.
Anything that somebody can possibly bring their story to life?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always looking for stories, always. But I've written, Trina, probably about 16 films. Um
Uh-huh.
and this year, my prayer and my hopes, if God willing, I have My Beautiful Day, which is a short about it's really a short story about my love story. But all in one. And it
Oh.
is a short story. And
Hmm.
then the long walk back home deals with domestic violence.
Hmm.
And Private Cadence is going to be one of my feature films. That would be like an hour and a half. Um, that's called Private
Oh.
Cadence, and that's about my experience in military. Um,
Oh, wow. I
yes.
can't wait to see that.
Mhm. And then the other feature film is Abby's Secret, it's Abby's Secret. So I won't tell what the film is about because it's
What
a
the
secret.
secret is.
Right, right,
Right.
right. So yeah, I'm looking to do more with like young people. Hopefully, as Sheila B production grows, I can reach back, to help those students, etc. We're hoping to get some type of scholarship going, a mentorship going, an internship going for the youth, um, because they are our future. To get them, you
Right.
know, going and get their juices flowing because they are so creative. Um,
Yes.
so yeah.
Well, I know I sent somebody over to you, referred an intern to you, and
Hmm.
I spoke with her your last film release, and she was so excited.
Hmm.
Just when you see that joy coming from, like you said, our youth, knowing that there's still hope.
Yes. Oh my God, absolutely. You nailed it there. You nailed it.
Yeah. So, if somebody wanted to get involved with your film productions, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, the best way to contact us would be to go to our website. It's really simple. Is SheilaBProductions.com. They can send a headshot, their resume, online profile highlighting what their previous acting experience is, a demo reel. But if they don't have any of that, that's fine. Um, Cell phones are amazing. Send me a headshot. Tell me, a little bit about yourself, like your height and, those types of things. Send it over to
Hmm.
me. I love working with new faces. Most of my films have actually been with people that have never been in films, and you would never know it because they came when I said they brought their A game, they did. And it's really nice working with new actors and actresses because they're fresh and they're open
Right,
to learning, but they're also I do give them, the opportunity to be themselves in that film while still being the character that I want them to be.
right.
Mhm.
And to contact you via email, that is info at Sheila B, that's B as in boy,
Yes,
productions.com. Is that
that
correct?
is correct. That is correct.
Mhm. Wonderful. Well, we're going to kind of turn the wheel a little bit and go into a little bit of a deeper topic.
Mm.
Something that Sheila and I, in addition to everything else we have in common, we are both rare patients.
Mhm.
And I remember when you had announced that you were having some health issues.
Mhm.
So, can you take us through the beginning journey of your diagnosis and what does this mean for you?
So in 2018, I was working for in entertainment. It's like a bowling alley, and I was the a manager of probably about 15 young people. They were what they call party hosts. And
Mm-hmm.
I had long, very long hours, like sometimes 8 in the morning to like 2 o'clock the next day. It was like
Oh
really,
my
yeah, it was
goodness.
really, really long hours. But I love that
Wow.
too because I got to work with youth and help
Yeah.
them. And it was wonderful. But I had noticed in that year, like December, I had started having problems with with swallowing. Um,
Mm.
I could swallow, but then the food would like rest like right at the bottom of my throat, it seemed. And it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like the more I ate, the worse I felt. And then one day
Mm-hmm.
while at work, it just kind of really all like hit the fan, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They took me to the hospital. and they really couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. They did a lot of tests. They gave me a few shots and basically told me that I had like some type of virus or stomach flu or something, and they sent me home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they sent me home. I say within 2 days, I was right back at the hospital again.
Oh my
And
goodness.
the same symptoms, the same thing going on. They gave me a few shots. They put me in the hospital this time because they wanted to run additional tests. And I was in the
Right.
hospital probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so. They put me on a clear liquid diet. All seemed good. You know, they said I was good to go. I could go home, and I did. This happened between January and May. They would release me. I would go
Oh my
home. Yeah, I
goodness.
was just back and forth.
I didn't realize it was to that
Yeah,
extent.
it started in December, and in January I was in and out, in and out. And like I said, it went on until May of 2019. I'm sorry, 2017 is when that happened. December 2017. Now I apologize. So May
Okay.
of 2018 is when they actually did an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. And when they came back with my results, they immediately took me into surgery because they found a small blockage in my small intestines.
Mm-hmm.
And they took it, removed it, sent it off. And the next thing that I know, I felt a whole lot better, but I have an
Mm-hmm.
oncologist coming in to talk to me. And I knew what an oncologist was, but of course I was on, I think it was called Demerol something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really, I heard her, but I didn't hear my doctor saying
Right.
that, and here's your oncologist. She's in to talk to you about some of the findings, a finding for or the results of your test. And so she was talking to me, my same oncologist today, Dr. Chang, and she told me, she says, unfortunately, you're gonna be okay, but we did find lymphoma in the blockage that they removed,
Mm.
and it's also in your bone marrow,
Mm.
and it still didn't
So
hit
it
me.
had
Mhm,
metastasized, correct?
mhm. So it still
Mm.
didn't hit me then, because of course I'm still on drugs. And so the next
Mm-hmm.
day she came back again and she sat down, bless her heart. She sat and she spoke with me probably, I guess, about 30 minutes, comforting me. At that point, I broke down because, you always hear people like, um, I found out I had cancer, and you're like, just it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay until it happens to you. And then it's a
Right.
different feeling. Like you feel like your
Mm-hmm.
life flashed before you and you know that there's so many things that you want to try to do. Um,
Mm.
because when it's in your bone marrow, it never goes away. Um, it's just there. So
Yeah.
I'm in remission right now, which is a blessing, and I'm thanking God for that.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. I'm thanking
Yes.
God for that. But since, I got out of the hospital in 2018, I've actually, it's come back on two different occasions. Now, I've been in
Mm.
remission now for at least 2 years, and I'm truly thanking God for that. So thank God for
Yeah.
that. But all the things that I said that I wanted to do, that, I put on like the little back burner. You start thinking about all those things because life is just not promised. In the blink of an eye, it's
Right.
just not promised. So one
Right.
of the things that I just decided is that I wouldn't focus on the lymphoma. I was focused on life, you know,
Yeah.
and because if I focused on that, I would miss out on life, thinking about what's going to happen with
Absolutely.
that. So I'm just thankful, very so much thankful to God for where He's brought me from and to, and where He's going to take me. And
Mm.
I feel like when it's my time, it'll be my time. Yeah,
Very right.
and not to worry about it.
You're just appreciating being in the moment.
Yes. And which is so very important. And you learn to appreciate, the people around you. Like, I have the most amazing husband, who has been my rock, because he's actually been with me in one of those, when it came
Mm-hmm.
when it came back. And he
Right.
slept in the hospital with me. He was working 2 jobs and still would come to the hospital and sleep with me. You appreciate the smaller things in life, but in your mind,
Right.
it's like, "Wow, that is huge," you know?
Yeah,
So, and
absolutely.
I appreciate my parents, my brother, it's just like my sister-in-law, my children. It's just been a wonderful journey, even in light of the diagnosis. It still has
Right.
been, it's just taught me how to appreciate life and live it to the best that I possibly can.
Yes. And every time I have run into you or we've planned meeting up somewhere or having lunch or dinner, you have always been joyful.
Aw.
And I can see the love that you have for others. I see the love between you and your husband. You guys are the cutest couple.
Oh, thank you.
Love it. You are welcome. You deserve it. And, you know, all these challenges that you've been through. And I know I've been through similar challenges, and I know sometimes it's not always easy.
Mhm.
Um, so, how did you overcome all of this mentally?
Honestly, it's funny because I was talking to my husband the other day, and I was telling him that when you've been through trauma, because I think about it,
Hmm.
I was in the military, there was sexual assault, and then, the cancer, and then domestic violence, and there's a whole bunch of other things that only, you and I know that I've been through personally. Um, you learn how to give it away, if that makes sense. Giving it
Hmm.
away to and because I'm very faith based, and I truly believe that
Yes.
if I say that I believe in God and you see me and I look like a rat race, like, it doesn't look like, I'm at peace with my life, even though my life can be in total chaos. The only way that you're able to lead and inspire and show God through you is to really show God through you and trust Him.
Mm.
And that has
Yeah.
truly been the foundation of everything that I've been through. And that's honestly what keeps me in that I've overcome that mentality. Because if
Mm.
you linger in where you are, um, to me that says to God that you don't trust Him.
Yeah.
And so whatever is gonna
Absolutely.
happen, no matter how much I stress, I can, be depressed, it still won't change what his final decision is because he is the ultimate judge.
Right.
And
Right.
he's the one that has the last say. So I've learned that and with age and with experience is just to give it to him and leave it there. When they say leave your burdens and everything at the foot,
Mm. That's
yeah, do that.
at the door. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I do. That's how I have
Hmm.
overcome mentally through everything.
Right. Well, that is one thing or another thing,
Mm.
I should say, that I admire about you.
Aw.
And, you know, there's been times where I've struggled, and, you know, it's that gentle reminder sometimes
Mhm.
that others need to hear your story, because your story might be that gentle reminder that God is there for them.
Amen. Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for sharing your joy, your challenges, and how you've overcome those challenges.
Thank you, love.
My appreciation. So, has anything we said today inspired any of you? Thank you again, Sheila. It has really been a wonderful experience to spend this time with you to better understand what resilience looks like. I hope that our audience has felt inspired and learned a lot about our inspiration behind the legacies that we leave. Today's message goes to show that resilience and passion can push barriers out of the way. Don't forget to follow me and our guest on our social media. Mine is Miss MS Elite United USA, and Sheila's is
At Sheila B Productions. It's the same on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, IMDb, and Fanbase. And we also have our website, which is www.sheilabproductions.com.
all right. Well, that is all for today's show. Thank you for those who are joining with us. If anything resonates with you and you would like to continue this conversation or to be a guest, visit creative, that's CRE, the number 8, TIVE, HQ for headquarter.com/RSVP, where you can RSVP for upcoming live events and learn more about the organizations and supporters of today's episode. Thank you again for tuning in to the Royal Buzz, where you will discover inspiring stories, empowering discussions, and a whole lot of positivity.